All right, we rolling? I think we're rolling. What's going on, everybody? George Osei back at it again with another video. Oh, damn, I'm getting a bunch of notifications. Oh, I think at the time I'm recording this, it is Pride Parade Day. So shout out to the rainbow community and all that you are doing for people. I don't know, all my homies have gone out to the Pride Parade. And I want to say, of the ones that I've hit up, uh, none of them have been arrested yet. So that's what's up. Um, I was scrolling on my Twitter or X, and I seen a video of DL Hughley, and he he was mad. I didn't watch the whole video, but I gonna play and react to it. What's he so upset about? So let me pop this John on the screen. I think he's white. I don't know, man. I can't tell the difference with these people. But oh, hey, here he is. Uh, if you didn't know, DL means Daryl Lynn Hughley. His middle name is Lynn. Very interesting. Alrighty, let's hear what he has to say about a Trump supporter or Trump supporters in general. Here we go.
You do, you coward. Name me one person, one competent person on his cabinet that can help him. One. The same time, yes, he could have went to jail for starting a riot.
With all due respect, absolute nonsense. He torpedoed a deal with Iran because he doesn't like Barack Obama. Do you listen to this? Do you hear?
He destroyed. Oh, stop it! Stop it! The man, he wouldn't do that. The man who's renaming federal and Confederate generals. Why didn't he torpedo the deal? Why?
What was crap about it?
Okay, hold on, man. This should start off hot. I don't know what they're talking about. You never want to be this angry on the internet, and old as hell too, and on TMZ of all places. Man, okay, let's keep going. I gotta adjust my sound here because that was loud. I was not expecting him to be that angry.
No. Barack Obama has said there's not. So a better deal is the one he's doing now, man.
Come on.
That man torpedoed that deal precisely because he didn't like Barack Obama. He's half the stuff he does.
Every president we said that they cannot have nuclear weapons.
Okay. I think they're talking about the Iranian deal that Obizia put into play, where as far as I know, America doesn't want Iran having nuclear resources. Oh, excuse me, nuclear weaponry. And we're gonna go back in time a little bit. So, yes, America never really wanted Iran to have nuclear weaponry because Israel is our sister country. You know, we did help create it, fund it along with Great Britain and France. You can just look up that history. And because we helped create this situation, we are constantly trying to make it better. Are we doing a good job at that? That is highly debatable. But when Obama was in office, he did sign a deal, and there were some criticism about it, about the softness of the deal. For example, there was some clauses in there, like if they were to hold up their end of the bargain, then there will be less, I want to say, eyes on their nuclear facilities. I think it was seen as a indicator of great faith, but Obama was criticized for having that clause because I think at one point, when these inspections were to be made to make sure that they were not creating any nuclear bombs, they were only allowed to visit certain sections of the nuclear facilities. And there were sections that they picked, but not sections that we were allowed to look at. So people did not like that. And then, of course, Iran was connected to funding some terror organizations during this time period. So there was issues with it, for sure. Now, DL's argument here is saying he got rid of that deal just because our guy Trump 4547 didn't like Obeezy personally, and he wanted to rewrite everything that he did. It's an interesting take. Could be true, but I think in this case there is some validity that there were some improvements that needed to be made on the Iranian deal if the idea is to not want them to have nuclear weapons. Right? That's if that's what you want. If that's what you want, yeah. So two things can be true at once here. Not saying he's completely wrong. Still too angry for my taste though.
According to Barack Obama,
a mediocre coward who is a bull president, and all of you people enable him. That's all he does is break.
Good happens for the world.
You think I care what you think of my? No, I despise him. But if he did something right, I would despise him as much as he despises black people. I despise him as much as he. By the way, Mike, let me ask you something.
Yo, DL Hughley needs a software update. These talking points are crazy, but okay.
Let me ask you something. Why rename bases after Confederate generals? Why do it? Why destroy black history?
Why renamed Confederate bases after Confederate soldiers? I'm not stumped. I don't know how I want to answer this because I feel like I'm gonna upset people. But there are things named by people today who did awful, awful things. And in my opinion, I think they should be remembered and learned from and not forgotten for what they've done, whether it be good or bad. And one of the things that is kind of not explicitly told about the Civil War is that those Confederate generals, they're all part of the Union Army at one point. Because brief Civil War history, but after the Confederacy succeeded from the Union, the Army went with them. Don't think about who fought on the Union side with no Army. There was an Army on the Union side, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But for this particular part, the Union Army left the Union to fight for the Confederacy. And these are the generals that helped shape America when they were part of the Union. And so to throw away that history, I can see why we wouldn't want to do that. Because they don't explicitly tell us that the Army, that the Union Army left and joined the Confederacy. The whole Army. So now, also, just to be explicitly clear, you do know that the Civil War wasn't fought because of slavery, right? Not saying slavery was good or bad. I'm just saying that's not why they did it. Might get into that another day, but that's not why they did it. And there were also black people in that army. Yes. Oh, there we go. Mr. DL. Let's keep going.
Good question, Mike.
Why do it? You know why? Because he's
let him answer, DL.
And let him do it.
If you're going to ask him, you have to let him answer.
Why does he do it? Why does he rename?
I have no idea.
Yes, you do, you coward. He's a racist. That's why he does it.
You are DL. Somebody your age should have more control over their emotions.
You know what DL does that is quite annoying? He has an emotional connection to his knowledge instead of like an intellectual one. And I know his blood pressure ain't good for this. Like black people notoriously don't have good blood pressure. And he is blowing a gasket right now. And then he chooses TMZ people to argue with. Oh man. Is this a skit? This has to be a skit. It has to be. He need help. Okay.
Fall back. We got his mic down.
I'll show you how weak I am.
Mike's down.
I'll show you how weak I am.
Okay. Hold on. All right. We're gonna do this civilly.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He got a do-rag under that hat. Like he real Daryl-ish right now. Like this is Daryl right here. This ain't DL talking. This is Daryl. Daryl with the do-rag, the white tee, the chain, the neck tattoos. This is not DL Hughley. This is Daryl. Daryl's upset. Daryl's upset with history. Daryl's upset with a lot of things. But it's cool, Daryl. You can be upset. Was there more to this? Do I want to see more to this? Excuse me. When you get this mad on the internet, people just dig up things about you that you've done in the past because the North always remembers. And people were bringing up how he didn't believe his daughter was abused, or that one joke about his baby dying, because they don't understand the moral high ground that he's is displaying, his disdain for our president. I mean, most of these people don't have moral backbone or standards, really. And I think that's what upsets a lot of people. It's like, what standard is being used? What's this president's name? What is his name? No. Yes, Woodrow Wilson. I think Woodrow Wilson was the governor of New Jersey. But Woodrow Wilson also brought back segregation. Woodrow Wilson also, I think he's the one that played Birth of a Nation. He said it was his favorite movie. Yeah. They say he wasn't there when they filmed it, but if you're familiar with Birth of a Nation, this gets into some real sticky history. If you're familiar with something called the Lost Cause, right? The Lost Cause. Let's get it. Change my banner up. We getting into some shaky history. My memory's not good, and it is quite late as I record this, and I'm going to be rambling for a little bit. But yeah, the Lost Cause history. This is what, the way we were taught it up here was that the Lost Cause was basically the reasonings as to why the Civil War happened. And it wasn't because of slavery, like I mentioned earlier. But the Lost Cause is because of states' rights, which is also not true either. But that's what was told to people who lived in these Confederate states, aka the South, to make it more modernized. And Birth of a Nation was one of the propaganda tools used to promote, this states' rights issue, which was played in the White House. Now, I think the KKK helped fund this movie. I think you can watch it on YouTube today too. I'm not watching it. I don't care like that. But the Lost Cause actually started from this group called, I don't know if you guys heard of them. Throw them up on the screen. You ever heard of these guys? These ladies, the Daughters of the Confederacy, Lost Cause. So why was the Daughters of the Confederacy? What's so important about these people? As you can see in my screen grab here, all the blue got all of the hot groups that you be upset with. But yeah, so once the Confederacy or the South lost the Civil War, they lost their way of living, right? And this is kind of more of like an abstract thought here, but what keeps societies together is like pillars. So your history, culture, faith, beliefs, traditions. And this loss, what it did to the South at the time was it destroyed all of those pillars. And so this society became incredibly unstable because, as you may know, slavery was justified through cherry picked verses out of the Bible. And these were religious people, and they have now been hit with the reality that what they did was deemed evil, and they all thought they were going to burn in hell. So they didn't want to do nothing. And the women had to save the men. And so women came together and created this Daughters of the Confederacy, and they attempted to rebrand these pillars and push this states' rights narrative. Like, no, no, no. It wasn't that you were evil. It was just that you were free to move this way because you were trying to make things better. See, with your guidance, you were able to help these savages read, write, build. How your forefathers supported these people. They didn't even have to pay taxes. They lived all that they worked on. Sure, they could have left, but they were treated so well that they didn't want to leave. Now, this is the things that they were telling them. They have a special connection to us. Like, look, all these mulatto babies running around. And they're like, oh, yeah. That rebranded. And this rebranding led right into Jim Crow. Oh, man. Yeah, it went right into Jim Crow because now, they had this mentality that they were actually helping, the Negro. And the funny thing is, they didn't tell black people that this was going down because due to segregation, black people were teaching them the real history, telling them that these people were unable to work these fields because they weren't even from here. So how would they know how to work the fields if you're not from here? It would take people who were already here to work these fields. And that's the history that was being taught to black people. And this, led into Jim Crow because you had two conflicting histories amongst large populations of people, except one side has the federal government on their back pocket. Another side, they just got the people. And of course, if you follow history, the federal government always had more power than the people. That's not done by design, that's done by choice. And Jim Crow was able, miscegenation laws, which will be, the street vocab was, I guess, Jim Crow. But yeah, you get the point. But yes, Birth of a Nation was this movie that did this. And Woodrow Wilson, probably the most racist president we've had by far, played this. And they named a bridge after him over here. And that's because he was just the governor of New Jersey. Like every street here in New Jersey is named after a governor of some sort. So we are pro submission to the government over here. Yeah. Yeah. We love big government over here. Literally every one of our streets is named after a governor. Oh boy. But yeah, so I don't know why Dio's so angry. I think that I think the Civil War is the most mysterious war that we've had, and I think they're hiding the most information about that for whatever reason. But yeah, that's the brief history on the Lost Cause. So I think that's what I got for now. Oh yeah, it's getting real late, so I'm gonna be out of here. I might throw this up here, get people upset. But hey, wherever you see this, man, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back soon. I'll be easy.